Hello, hello. It's Elizabeth, and I'm here in my art loft, and I wanted to talk to you today about text shards and shape shards. Now, what are text shards and shape shards? Well, when you use a rubber stamp, you usually have text that's written in reverse so that when you stamp it down on your piece of paper, it comes out so that you can read it, or more or less so that you can read it. So it looks like it would be readable. How's that? But when you stamp that down on your gel plate, then it turns it into right reading, that you can read it off the top of your gel plate. But as we all know, when you use your gel plate, it turns it over so that you get your text becomes backwards again. So I've decided that I needed to have some text that was written so that you could read it on the stamp. So I made my big rubber stamp here. And I wanted it so it was right reading, so that when you used it on your gel plate, then when it came out and it was printed, then you would see it right reading again. So to make it into a text shard, though, I decided that I did not want to have the edges to be even. Not a straight line, not, scalloped or whatever. They are kind of scalloped, but they're, irregularly scalloped. And in doing that, then you not only get the text, because when you stamp this down on your plate, and I got rubber, these are so I can pick it up easier, see? The masking tape on the back. But when you stamp it down on your plate, then the paint gets stuck, if you will, in these little crevices, and the little crevices keep the paint, but the rest of the stamp, the rest of your shard, picks up the ink or paint that isn't in those little areas. So when you have your stamp like this, then you get the areas where you have the little words that you can read, and they look like you've written them on, well, kind of like you've written them on the piece of paper. They actually have a little bit of texture to them sometimes if you haven't put some kind of other stuff over the top of it. These two prints were done one right after the other. This one had some pieces of paper that had blocked out different pieces, and then rolled on the blue, and then I did use the text shard, and the text shard then takes off all and leaves just the letters. And so I did it multiple times, and that's what some of these edges are here, these little spaces here. Now I've modified this one a little bit more even to make it less straight at the top, because it was kind of straight at the top and I didn't like that. I like this edge best, so I've made it so that this edge, the other edges look like it. So today I'm going to show you how to do that. And what I do is I take a big piece of rubber of whatever kind. You can use the Mars, I believe Mars Stapler makes, these plastic erasers that are bigger than just a little one. They come in sizes larger. There's some kind of a pink pearl or something like that makes a big stamping, like for a relief stamp. I just happen to have a lot of this blue rubber, so I use it. And this was a larger sheet today, and I've cut it apart because the first thing I did was to do these squares, because I thought I might want squares on my gel plate, so I did those, and then I cut them out in an irregular shape on the outside so that the outside will be interesting too. And when I was doing the cutting, I laid it on a piece of this stupid piece of paper that lets its goop come off on everything, so I'll have to get rid of that. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's on the back of the thing. But then I had these leftover pieces, so I wrote on this one, and I've begun cutting out the letters in it. And when I cut out these letters, I do need to have something under it so that it will slide nicely on my table. So that's how I use one of these Speedball #1, which has a little bitty tip. And somebody said this looks like what is a cuticle remover, but it's usually, I think, maybe sharper than that. And also, it's made for cutting linoleum blocks or something like that, and you just simply put it into your rubber stuff. And then I move my rubber stuff around and hold my hand basically steady as I'm moving the rubber stuff around and tracing those letters. So I'm doing the of here. I did this because I wanted my handwriting on the gel print without it being backwards, because if I wrote directly on the plate, then it would come out backwards, and if I wrote on it afterwards, then it would look like it was written on afterwards rather than being a part of the gel print itself. I like the way it gets a little bit obscured here and there with the other inks that you've put on after you've written on there. So after I've got all these carved out, then I'll have a nice shard to, and I'll carve these edges too, so I'll have a nice shard to use on my gel plate. This one says, why is it that we all, oh, there it is. Why is it that we think of all those strange things at night? You know the ones that keep you awake, that run through your mind like a broken record. Why? So that's that one. I also made another one I think might be interesting, but we're going to try that on the gel plate in just a moment. This one I made kind of a, I don't know if it's supposed to represent water, which it kind of looks like to me, or if it's supposed to be just maybe like the inside of a piece of wood. Of course, there are rubber stamps that you can buy that look like wood, and you know, things like that. It's not important to have the shard necessarily, except that it, you know, if you're making them, you might as well make all the little extra pieces into something. And this one's already got something on it. It's already got a grid pattern that I've used, that I've done with my, let me get some of this out of the way, that I've done with my under the linoleum, no, under the rug. It's a little plastic thing that you put under your rug to make your rug not scoot. And you can see it's been well used. It's got all different kinds of colors on it. And but we're going to do some text shards on this and see if they actually work when we're doing this. I've got some gold on there in a grid pattern, and I had some leftover other stuff. So we'll see how that all picks up and how it works with our text shards. So I need some ink, some paint, and my roller. And there's my roller underneath that. Let's go with a beautiful orange. Kind of mixed this up yesterday from some bottles that were almost empty, so I'm not sure exactly what color that is. Well, it's orange, but it's, ew, it's got some goobies in it. Well, we'll get those out of there. I hate the little goobies. You gotta get rid of those because they won't see them stringing out through there. Just pick that up. Ew, where's my paper towel? Never have one when I need it. Get rid of that. And there's more. And there's more. You know those commercials where they where they sell you something and there's more. Okay, so we've got our fingers orange. That's a good sign. And then we're rolling this out to use our script, our text shards. I do make them in script. I do write in cursive. I don't, well, sometimes I print. I could do one printed. I don't think I've done one printed. Maybe I'll do that next time. Okay, and I have evidently some more on there. You can see when you've got these little little spaces there, you can tell that you have something on your roller that isn't supposed to be there. Another gooby, but a smaller one this time. And I had that very liquidy, so it may not work as well as I want. Let me roll this stuff off, and then I'll roll a little bit more on, and we'll see how that works. My brayer has decided to start squeaking. I had a little one that was squeaky all the time, but I haven't used it in a while. I don't even know where, oh, I do know where it is. It's in that container right there. Okay. Rolling off our excess. And getting a little bit more off of there. I'm getting orange all over me too. I'm doing really well today. But that's what bathrooms are for. Wash your hands off, get all that stuff off of you. Yeah. Okay, that should be good. Okay, we're going to use the square stamp, square shard, and see if we can make some squares in there. Now, it may or may not pick up that gold because the gold has been on all night. And it looks like it's not picking up the gold, so you may have to pick that up and then start all over. But as you can see, put my finger in it, not good. I'm getting the little lines of where the that I've carved into this stamp are showing up there. And we don't necessarily have to put that all over. I don't like that edge there, so we'll do that. Put a little edge there, maybe. Oh, that's looking better. And now I've got too much paint on my shard to make it work. And my roll-off sheet's looking interesting, though, as I'm stamping off on it. You can see how the stamps get there. Let's put a little bit little in there. That's pretty good. More there. Stamp that off again because we're getting too much paint on our shard to let it pick up anymore. Because it doesn't pick up forever. And I don't think it's picking up, well, it's picking up some of the gold from underneath, so that might work. That's how my hands get full of paint. That's how they get full of paint. Okay, this orange is almost dry now. So we'll put another, I'm still in my fire and ice phase. Doing ones that are orange and blue. Don't know, it just appealed to me and I got into it and just have gone crazy with that. Okay, so I'm going to put some blue on top of that. And I choose you. Yeah. This is a mixture. It started out azure blue, which is almost this color. And the color that I've mixed in it is almost that color as well. You do need to let your orange dry, more or less, before you put your blue on there, or you're going to get muddy brown. Because orange and blue are opposites on the color wheel. So they're complementary colors. Couldn't think of the word for a minute. And so they will make brown if you have them both wet while you're doing it. And I think I do have a little orange wet down there in the corner, but that's okay. We'll take care of that. And again, I'm not sure this blue is going to show a lot because we did have the gold on there first. So the gold has not, did not seem to be picking up much with that orange, but we'll see what we can do. The blue looks like it's going down between, in the little crevices that, you know, were in between where the lines that the orange was in. And we are getting, you can see some of the shards showing here, pieces of the shards. And I'll roll off some of this blue. And let's see, do we want to pick that up yet? Let me look at the other side. Not much showing here. Let's put another color on the top of that, and then we'll pick everything up in pieces, and parts of it will come up from the bottom and parts of it won't. I'm going to take a little bit of this off. So I'll have that line right there. And yes, it has muddied a little bit with the orange, but that's all right. Quit squeaking, squeaky brayer. My old paints kind of ran out, and I ended up having to buy some new paints, and the new paints I've purchased seem to have to be a more a matte paint. And it's interesting because it changes the way things look. I mean, it doesn't feel the same on the roll-off sheet. I mean, I like feeling the texture of the roll-off sheet, and it doesn't feel the same as it did before, and it also looks different on the prints. But it's still interesting, so I still go with it. Not going to worry about getting the old paints that I used to have. Okay, so I'm going to put another color on that, and that's this blue. This is the just primary blue from Deco Art Americana paint. And does it say more about that? I don't think this one's matte color, but the some of the other ones I've been using. And we're going to pick up after we put this on there. I know, looks like just mixing paint, and it is sort of. Actually, I should have probably picked up some of there. Oh well, not going to worry. Let's see how it works. We're doing paint stacking, as I call it. Other people probably call it something else. Other people have probably done this many, many times. I just decided to do it lately. Stack my paints all up and then pull them off. And when I pull off, parts come off and other parts don't. And it's interesting that way. And there's a big blobby looking area. Aha, look at that. My paint's pulling apart there too. Okay, I have all this blue on my roller. And a big, I don't like that area. I'll just scritch that a little bit to make it not so evenly oval evenness. And roll that baby off. Trying to, I've made myself a kind of a corner. I've gotten myself into a corner where I have little room for my roll-offs. So I have to be a little more careful so that I don't make everything turn out. Okay, I'm going to pick that up with this print that I don't like. So when I've got a print that I don't like and I pick it up with that print, then sometimes it does some more interesting things about leaving pictures or where it resisted from some of the paints that were on this print. So that's how I get some of the weird stuff that I get. Okay, and that just picked up basically blue on this. But that's interesting. I mean, that'll be okay. And now we're going to pick up the rest of this with a regular white sheet paper. Let's see if those squares show it all. And I think I got 2 sheets here, which is okay too. Yep, just 2. Gonna let it sit on there a few seconds longer than I did the other one, so it'll have more. I think I pushed the, I don't know how much you guys are seeing now. I think I've made my screen a little lower, so it might be not seeing as much. Well, I'll check that in a moment. Okay, let's see what we got. Nope, that's interesting. We've got a little bit. We've got a lot of white areas, which I don't care for, but we'll fix those later. Come on, baby. Aha, now look at this. We have some of the gold squares that were on there originally before I did anything. And then we have these little things, which is what I was going to pick up next. And we have some in the corner here that you can see easily. That's from my shape shard. And I haven't done a script shard, so we'll do a script shard on there. And then, more of that. But a lot of my gold squares are gone now, so that's going to be more interesting. Still have a lot in that corner there. And that corner there was always low. Okay, so what color do we want again? I think we're going to go with our blue because it's dramatic when we do our script shards on it. So we'll go with the blue. And And roll that out. This blue I think has a bit of transparency to it. It seems to. I like to get a nice smooth surface to start with, and then you can see more of your script and everything else on it, your text on it, on your text shards. Squeaky, quit. Okay. Okay, so we do have some texts that I've written out. And we just pick up a bit there. Now, the problem is when I stamp them off on my stamp-off sheet and then try to use my stamp-off sheet has them in reverse, which is, you know, it's not the important thing, because the important thing is the actual print. And as you can see, I'm getting some interesting edges to the things where I've put down my words and then picked them up again, and the edges between them make interesting shapes, and that's the shardness of it. It's a shard. It's a piece of a crockery or something like that this text was all written on. And I just do it kind of all over as a texture. I think I need some more along this edge. Don't want to get my finger in it, but I think I did. Okay, so that, well, it's backwards here, but it's forward there. And being underneath of that, you know, the gold is still on the plate first, so it's kind of interesting. Okay, so we'll let that dry a little tiny while. Let's see, got a big cube there, which is a lot of paint. I have a little bit of a little divot in my plate there, and I need to work on that because it's annoying, because it's just sticks of stuff there all the time. Put this in this corner, see if that'll give me something interesting. Aha! Actually, I like that. Maybe I'll do it in another corner, because the paint's dried enough that it's picking up more than the blue did. Can you see that in that corner? Look at that. Okay, let's pick this guy up. Let's see what we got. Okay, I'm going to use the orange again to go in between these places and make it more interesting. Actually, maybe I should use this one. Yeah, this one. Dark goldenrod. I think it has some goobies in there too. I don't know, I'll put a little too much on. It'll be alright. I just slopped it over the edge of my plate now too. That wasn't smart. Oop, I have a thing on there. Take that one off. Take that one off. First I need a paper towel to wipe up this edge that I've really made a mess on. And that's not good either. So now, I've made it worse. Gosh, what a pain. Nope, that didn't work. Let's just start again. Actually, it's taking off some of the paint now because it's so dry. Oh, that'll might work well, actually. Yep. Okay, let's look at it from the other side. Looks pretty good. I think I'll try picking that up, see what I get. I'll probably get a partial print again. So I'm going to pick it up with this piece that I don't like. And if you pick up with something you don't like, eventually you get something you do like. Maybe. But that gold was getting kind of, dark goldenrod was getting a little bit dry, so it's going to probably pick up in pieces. Or not much at all. Oh, well, that's interesting. I'm liking that better, but you can never tell till it dries. And look, we've got some of our text down here, and those little bitty things I did with that edge piece on the edges. You see those? That's going to be fun to play with. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. Might be a keeper already. And this is perfect place for some orange, absolutely. And then we'll pick the whole thing up, and it'll be beautiful. I hate to close that one out. I've left the goober there. Okay, we're just going to pick this up straight on a plain white piece of paper so we'll get the maximum amount of yumminess from it, and we'll see how it works. This time we're going to let it sit there a little bit longer to see if we can pick up most of that gold that was on the plate to start with. We're at 28 minutes, so I'm going to let it sit there a whole minute at least, rubbing it. Make sure that it's all nice and smooth down against it, so on. I always like to rub extra in the middle because it seems like that's where it doesn't pick up as much for me. Okay. Let's see what we've got. It's not picking everything up. Maybe we'll wait a few seconds longer. I don't know how you're shaking when I do this, but it looks like my camera's shaking and it's not touching this table. I don't know, I don't understand stuff like that. But I guess everything's connected in the world, so maybe that's what it is. Oh. Well. Ooh. Some yummy. Come on. Oh, doesn't want to come off the plate. Oh, that's some yummy there. Look at that yummy. Look at that. And it's got the circles front, that other print that I put on there. There we've got some of the text. There we've got some little tiny pieces of the text showing through. Lots of the squares. You see the circles there. That has, this right in here is my favorite part though, is where it's just, where you can see the sheen of the gold on the top of all that other weird stuff. I think that's a keeper. Yay. Well, that's all I have for you now. I hope that you subscribe, comment, like, and share. And don't forget to check out my video called Making Fire and Ice, because it has a giveaway on it. If you comment on that video, not on this one, if you comment on that video, then you will be put in a drawing for a giveaway for my my wonderful 200 subscribers. Thank you guys very much for subscribing, and I'll catch you later. Bye.